Welcome to Mark Medley's Everything Disney.
Just a couple of safety announcements before we head out here today. Please remain fully seated at all times, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck. It's going to be a pretty windy ride.
Please on a word in which does mean thank you here. Another thing we like to say is Twende. Twende means let's go. Jumbo everyone, my name is Bree and I will be your safari guide into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Just a few safety reminders to please remain seated with those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and hold on to all of those personal electronic devices. Now my friends, we are going to wait here for just a few moments. We're going to let a truck go ahead and pass us, and then it'll be our turn to head into the reserve.
Of course.
In the meantime, if you look above you, there is a spotting guide. If you can utilize that spotting guide, it's just there to help me out. I unfortunately won't be able to see all of the animals, so it's going to be there as your guide. Now as soon as we get clearance to go on and head in right after them, we'll go ahead and start making our way in. Now another reminder is to hold on to all of your personal electronic devices, because unfortunately if they fall out we will not be able to stop for them. So instead what I will have you do is raise your hand and wave goodbye to it. You will be able to see at the end of the night at guest relations. Now there is a possibility that if you do drop something we might have it already at that point, so just feel free to go ahead and ask a cast member and we'll do our very best to assist you. Now we are going to go ahead and start up in the Little Eatery Forest, and the animals out here are known to use their camouflage, so I just recommend looking very, very closely, keeping your eyes peeled for anything that could potentially be out here. Now starting off in the Little Eatery Forest, we're just going to go ahead and keep trekking our way down. As we can see, there is a lot of shrubbery, bushes, and trees. And the Swahili meaning for eatery is actually little, so technically we are in the little forest. Doesn't look like I am able to spot anything, but I do recommend totally coming back for another safari, maybe later on in the day, because no two safaris will be the same, and that is guaranteed. So we are just going to go ahead and trek our way out of the Little Eatery Forest and see if we can spot anything in the Safi River.
Yeah. The morning would be warm.
Now it does look like we're going to be coming up to some pink-backed pelicans on the right-hand side. And if you look to the very far back, there is also a Nile hippopotamus. But I'm going to go ahead and pause on the hippo, and we're going to go to those pink-backed pelicans. They will get their name from the pink coloration that appears during mating season. Both the male and females will tend to their nest and incubate their eggs for about 30 days. Now looking towards the left, they are underwater, but they are the Nile hippopotamus over here as well. They will spend most of their time underwater, and they are some of the most territorial animals out here in Africa. Unfortunately, though, these Nile hippopotamus do not float, so they will sink to the bottom. So it's a very good thing that they can hold their breath for 8 minutes. Now, a Nile hippopotamus is also known to weigh up to 85 pounds at birth. Now we're just going to go ahead and make our way over this bridge, but on the left-hand side of the bridge, there's going to be some Nile crocodiles, and I'll share a little bit about them on the other side of the bridge. Now, my friends, those Nile crocodiles are known to reach up to 16 feet in length and weigh just a little over 500 pounds. They're also known to reach up to ages of around 40 years old.
Maybe you're thinking alligators versus crocodiles. Oh, okay. They live a lot longer. I have no idea.
Now, before we make our way into the savannah, coming up on the right-hand side is going to be a baobab tree. These baobab trees are known to remain leafless for about 9 months out of the year. Now that we are going to come across at least 3 more baobab trees out there in the reserve. Okay, and now we have entered into the savannah, so feel free to look around, see if you can spot anything. But when we do get closer to these animals, I will go ahead and explain a little bit about them.
That's a duck.
An African duck,
Let's go.
Alrighty friends, if you're looking over to the left-hand side, there is going to be some African painted dogs. African painted dogs are very social creatures and usually will travel in packs of about 5 to 15 adults. If you're to line all of them right next to each other side by side, their coat patterns will be different. And that's actually how they tell each other apart from a distance away. Now you're just going to go ahead and continue forward because once again, coming up on the left-hand side, we're going to have some Ankole cattle as well as some sable antelopes.
Hook 'em,
Now,
baby,
these
hook
Ankole
'em.
cattle's horns will grow to be about 3 to 4 feet in length. They're not at all heavy. Instead, they do have a honeycomb-like structure on the inside, and that just helps them regulate their body temperature. And over there is going to be the sable antelopes, once again to the left-hand side. Their horns are pointed backwards, and that is just a way that they deter lions from jumping on their backs. Now, if you're looking over to the right, we're going to have some Hartman's Mountain zebras. Hartman's Mountain zebras don't whinny or neigh like a typical horse would, but instead they actually make a chuffing and a snorting sound. They match it with their body language, and that's how they communicate with one another. And as we are continuing to move forward, once again on the right-hand side, those are going to be elands. Elands will stand 6 feet tall at the shoulder. And they can also jump 6 to 9 feet up into the air from that standing position, which personally I think it's really impressive because they also weigh 2,000 pounds. Now we are going to be passing by a few more Hartman's mountain zebras on the right hand side. As we are going and continuing forward in the savannah, coming up on the left in a few moments there's going to be a bunch of those trees, and on the left hand side there's going to be a few Maasai giraffes. Now we're going to go ahead and wait just a little bit for the truck in front of us to start making their way forward, and then we'll follow shortly after. Pretty irregular light patterns with some rough edges. Each giraffe is going to have their own unique pattern, just like we have our own unique fingerprints. They do have hair at the very ends of their tails, and that hair can actually grow to be about 3 feet long. The horns at the very top of their heads are called ossicones. And when they are fully grown, just like these ones over here, they will be 18 to 20 feet tall. Whereas a baby giraffe will be up to 6 feet tall at birth. Now we are just going to go ahead and start making our way into the other side of the savannah, or as I like to call it, elephant country. Now if you're looking on over to the left hand side as we are slowly making our way in, we are going to be passing by some mandrills. Now the mandrill males will have a blue and red facial marking that will brighten with excitement. The females will only be a third of his size, so they will look pretty small compared to him. If we look to the right, there is an African elephant. Now African elephants do have some pretty sensitive skin, and they usually will grow sand, mud, and dirt on their backs as a way of using it as a natural sunblock. Unfortunately though, these African elephants are being poached for their ivory tusks. Now since we are in elephant country, there is a possibility that we are going to spot a few more African elephants. The further into the savannah we go. As we are moving forward, we are going to go through some red clay pits on either side of the truck. In just a few moments, we will see that red clay. So right around this area over here, we've got that. And if you're looking more towards the right-hand side, there's going to be some tusk marks in that red clay. And that is just because the elephants will dig their tusks in the red clay, and it is used as a source of nutrients for them. So coming up on the right, we have two baobab trees, just like the one we saw at the very beginning when we entered into the savannah. And on the left, there is going to be another one that is a little bit bigger, so that since we can kind of get a better look at, compared to the one that was kind of shielded by the shrubbery and trees. On the left-hand side, we have some greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are actually not born the color pink, they're going to be born the color gray. And they will get their color from their diet, which does mostly consist of brine shrimp. Now there is something in brine shrimp called carotene that will give them that beautiful pink color. However, these greater flamingos are going to be the lightest pink of the flamingo species. Now we do just make our way into the outskirts, and if you look to the left, there is a mud wallow. Mud wallows are mostly used by white rhinos. They do like to lay down in them, and it helps them stay cool on very hot days. Now, the mud wallow is proof that there are white rhinos in the area. I'm just not exactly sure where they might be hiding. It does look like we are about to enter into cat country. So coming up on the left at the very back of that hill, there is going to be some cheetahs. The cheetahs do have some pretty long tails, and they will use their tails to balance while running. They do prefer hunting during the day rather than hunting at night. It will give them the advantage, as well as no competition, because other big cats do like to hunt at night. Now, unlike other big cats, they also don't make a roaring sound. Instead, they actually make a chirping sound. Coming up in front of us is going to be a rock-like structure, and these rock-like structures are called copies. Copies are mostly utilized by predators as a way to look for prey in their area.
Female on top.
It does give them the high ground as well as the advantage, and if you look to the very, very top on the left, there is a tail, and that is the tail of a lion.
That's a southbound view of a
Now,
northbound cat.
lions will spend most of their time resting and sleeping, roughly 16 to 20 hours. The females of the pride will usually do the hunting, and they usually hunt in groups
When
as
we're
a
done,
better
ask me
tactic to catch
something, I'll
their
give
prey,
you
whereas
something.
the males will kind of hang back and hang out with
I'll
the
give you a
cubs.
wooden nickel.
Now, as we do slowly make our way around the copy, we might get a better look
But it'll
at
take you
her.
to my website, and you can have all the videos yourself.
Cool.
Where's Simba?
So if you keep on looking to the left, there is the lioness, and if you hear that, that is the lion roaring.
Here he comes.
There he is.
Oh. There he is. Come on, bad boy. Oh, yeah.
Now the Swahili name for the lion is going to be Simba, so technically you can tell all your friends that you saw Simba today. But we're just going to go ahead and continue making our way around and let those lions go back to maybe taking a nap. Now if you look to the left, we're going to have some warthogs. Those warthogs are going to be the largest burrowing animals. They really like their burrows, so as a way of protecting themselves, they will back themselves up into the burrows and expose their razor-sharp tusks. Now, as for the lion roaring, that is a very rare sight to come by. They only do it in the very early mornings or very late nights.
We got it.
Before sunset.
We got it. Pretty much the whole day.
Now, my friends, coming up on the right-hand side on the floor, there is going to be a nest of ostrich eggs. Those ostrich eggs need to be very strong because the bird itself is a very large and very heavy bird. So that when they go to sit on their eggs or accidentally step on them, the eggs will not crack underneath them. One ostrich egg does weigh about 3 pounds, which is equivalent to 2 dozen chicken eggs. Now we're just going to go ahead and make our way into Magadi Glen, where we have our warden's post, as well as the Nigerian dwarf goats. Now the Nigerian dwarf goats that we are about to come up to do produce a very sweet-like milk that the warden will collect and distribute to the village of Harambe. These goats are also very playful creatures and usually use their playfulness as a way to reach maturity, but it can also be used as a hierarchy system, so the more playful the goat is, the more dominance that they have over the group. So it does look like a bunch of them are hanging out over here in this area as well as back there in those trees. And now my friends, congratulations because you have just successfully completed your 2-week safari. Now it's very common for those 2 weeks to not feel like 2 weeks at all, but instead more like 20 minutes. That's just if you really did enjoy it. Now if you're not ready for your safari adventures to end, I do have a few suggestions to make, recommendations. There is the Gorilla Falls Trail as well as Rafiki's Planet Watch. Now if you go to Rafiki's Planet Watch, you will be catching a train. I'm not 100% sure if they are open just yet. But over there you will be able to have a petting zoo, the animal hospital, as well as the animation academy. Now at the petting zoo you will be able to pet some Nigerian dwarf goats, some sheep, and even some pigs. Now personally, my friends, I do hope that you did enjoy your safari today, and if you did, once again, Jumbo everyone, my name is Bree and I am from Ugly Beach, Hawaii. And if you didn't, it's no worries and no problem at all. My name is no longer Bree, I am now Chris from Orlando, Florida. Now I did just say that we finished our 2-week journey, so feel free to look around your surroundings and gather all of your belongings. But instead of dropping you off at the docks over here, I'm gonna go ahead and call up to the warden to let them know that we are coming back to the dock that I picked you up from. So go ahead and just give me 1 second, I'll go ahead and let them know.
This has been a Rockanium production.